Now, today we're going to be talking about a guy that I personally dislike and shows a bigger problem with the movie reviewing community as a whole right now, which isn't necessarily his fault. So, just because I hate the kind of content this man makes doesn't mean I hate him as a person, so please don't harass
That's a
him,
plus.
yada yada yada. You all know the drill. So, the topic of this
How does
video
it feel,
is this
just out
guy
of interest,
called-
how does it feel to know that that you are representative of everything that's wrong in movie YouTube?
Yeah.
I think it's great because, I think it speaks to the audience because they kept coming back. I mean, I was at 13,000 here. So
He said he doesn't hate
since then.
you anyway. So that's
Well, that's nice.
Well, he doesn't hate
I,
you as a person. You just
Yeah.
represent everything evil.
That's wrong. Yeah.
yeah. Not good.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's
movie
nice.
Cynic, and I have
He just
quite
hates
a
the idea of
problem
you.
with, well, first of all, his name.
He doesn't like my name.
Cynicalness should not be something that you pride yourself on in movie reviews because that just makes you sound mean and kind of out of touch. Cynicalness is something that you used to have in movie reviews, like with the Nostalgia Critic, but no one wants that kind of review anymore. People
We don't?
This will come as news probably to the Nostalgia Critic, and it probably will. It also comes as news to everyone who does movie reviews.
What are the
of this
current
type.
views of his last video?
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, but I mean,
guessing
obviously
pretty
off the
good.
top here, he's kind of wrong about that, considering how, like you said, Platoon, you and I grew at the exact same time at like the same pace practically. So I don't know about that, but
Yeah, cynicism does tend to get a bit of a bad rap, but I think people often use that term colloquially and they attack what the colloquial definition of being cynical is. And being cynical in the way that a lot of people do use that term is just being mean and bad faith and miserablist, and you just criticize things because you're a hater. That's what a lot of people seem to interpret cynic to mean. But cynicism is an entire philosophy, and it's a pretty useful approach when it comes to things like Marvel. I mean, I don't think you could really understand what's gone through like the last two phases of Marvel if you weren't cynical about the motives behind what creates those movies. It kind of forces you to be a bit cynical about those motives when they're just churning out content after content, obvious like clickbait equivalents or massive numbers of cameos that you throw into every film in a bid to get the audience engaged, but you can't be bothered to write a story. Like, that's a cynical criticism, but it's also a correct criticism. So there's nothing particularly wrong with being a cynic, right?
Criticism's criticism, right? I find it really hard to believe why people get pissed off when other people criticize something, whether it be a movie or book or music, and then they get pissed off because that person has a different view to theirs. I think the best thing you can do is disagree with someone, but see it from their point of view and learn off them, because that's the whole point of a discussion, right? Or a disagreement is that you try to learn off the next person. If the person's talking shit, then you just step back, don't you? Right? Or am I wrong? Or am I wrong? I don't know.
I don't think you're wrong, sir. I think, well, there's a part of this too where I think this guy takes movie cynic a little more serious than movie cynic takes movie cynic.
Yeah, I guess.
The description in my on my channel itself is just a smiley face, because I consider my channel an alternative form of entertainment. A lot of times I think you come for the entertainment. There's some analysis there that's, you'll walk away with a couple nuggets, but the point is to entertain the hell out of you. Like, that's what I want to do when you come to my channel. So, whatever format you want to call it, a video essay, a film review, whatever, I'm talking about entertainment, pop culture. I'm talking about movies, and I want you to have a good time, and I want you to leave laughing. So
yeah, from your point of view.
Yeah.
people want more informed.
Oh, hi, Bex.
Hello.
Hi, I'm here to I'm here defending this video today. I hope everyone knows that.
I'm not surprised.
You are terrible at movie reviews, Cynic. Like, you're way too optimistic, so I need to back my boy up.
Yeah. I mean, to defend myself too, the channel, I try and live up to the channel name, which is The Movie Cynic. So I mostly review movies that I didn't like. I watch a lot of things I do like, and I am very, very purposeful when it comes to choosing when I talk about those things. But it's to stick to a certain criteria that I have for the channel, and I find that mocking things is a lot of fun. Making fun of bad things is a lot of fun, and it seems like a lot of people have fun when they come to the channel and watch, and that's the point. So
I'll also point out that the video that he zoomed in on at the beginning, the one that he said he would hate to live in a world where that becomes
It's a
true, was a
positive
video of you praising something.
I was praising
So it's
something.
evidently not so cynical.
Yeah, I think like half of the movies on that first shot were like half were good, half were bad.
Do you know what? I was watching this, right, and halfway through, I began to be interested in Batman. And I just zoned out. I was just looking at Batman, and then suddenly I realized I'm supposed to be listening to this guy. So I don't think putting up Batman's a good idea.
Your main takeaway from the video response is that that game he's playing looks really
Looks
good.
Yeah. I thought, I'm getting that one. Yeah.
even in this, I was like, yeah, I probably would have done that takedown differently.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was
angle
thinking.
of approach.
Yeah.
Informed, interesting, and helpful reviews instead of people just saying they don't like something for the sake of not liking something. This, however,
I'm sorry.
does not seem to affect the movie.
Okay, I get that you want it to be all like sunshine and rainbows. If you're gonna praise every single thing that like comes down the line, then you're truly not a critic. Okay, then you're a shill. I'm not saying that you have to be negative about everything. I try to avoid things that like piss me off, but you can't. You have to be subjective about all of this. You can't praise every single thing that comes across your desk, or you're truly not a critic. That's a really dumb attitude to take with anything. So if they're saying, well, he calls himself a critic, but he puts out all this toxic stuff, and was like, no, he puts out critiques. That's what a critic does.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the hang up on that and backlash for a bunch of different channels like this, where it was like, oh, he didn't like this particular thing that I like.
Yeah, I mean, he also says like he wants things to be useful, which I completely understand and agree with. I mean, it's not much fun if you just have a channel which says, I hate this because I hate this because I hate this because I hate this. But if that's what your channel was, then you probably wouldn't be growing, because nobody actually does want to hear that kind of stuff. But the point of a review, which is, it might be a bad review, isn't just to say this thing is shit and I hate it. It's also, this is why this thing is shit. And either by implication or explicitly, you go on to say, and this is what therefore would have been better. That you learn a huge amount more, I do anyway, from like learning why something is bad or why mistakes have been made, than by hearing someone say, this is really good because I like it. We've already got a good counterexample of that. Chris Stockman, who now refuses to review things he doesn't like, but that basically invalidates him as a critic. You already know if he doesn't like it because he's not talking about it. But that just means that he's going out of his way to be nice for no reason.
He's not reviewing films anymore?
He's still reviewing movies, but only movies that he likes, I think. He doesn't want to have to be nasty, because he wants to be in the industry. And so if he's mean to people, then he'll lose friends, so he won't get a job.
You automatically know what he thinks about something before it even, like, as soon as you see the thumbnail, you just know he's going to praise it. So it's kind of, I think my ratio is like 75%, more leaning towards a negative review and 25% positive. And I honestly think that's probably pretty fair. I don't think that it's 50-50 that good movies are released and bad movies are released or anything. Like my positive reviews, I release probably, I don't know, there's probably like 4 or 5 a year, and there's probably like 15 or 12 to 15 negative ones. And I think that's probably representative of reality, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, even Siskel and Ebert gave things a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And there's plenty of times where there's people who I know and respect where they go, hey, I didn't like this movie. And I go, really? Because I liked that movie. You know what I mean? I'm interested to see when someone gives someone who I usually agree with gives it a negative review, and then I end up liking the film. I'm intrigued to watch to figure out why. So I don't think it's an inherently bad thing that you give someone something a negative review. I think you have to back it up, of course.
Yeah, for sure. Jedi
Well,
Brooks,
even-
hello, sir.
Hello.
What's
How you
up?
doing?
But
Can't
even
believe
the
we're
big-
still talking about this in 2025, but go ahead, Becky.
Well, even the biggest critics get it wrong. Because like you got Siskel and Ebert over there, we used to have Barry Norman, and he reviewed a couple of films that I thought he just missed the point. Do you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
nobody's perfect, right? As far as I'm concerned, So
No.
I disagree. If Cynic is going to put out videos, they have to be perfect. I'm sorry. All of his videos are way too negative. I missed the first minute and 14 seconds of this, but I already agree with the video.
all I can say is tears
so
of the
glad you're
sun.
here.
Tears of the sun, love. That's all I can say. I hate your review. That sucked.
Team
The whole
You pipe
premise
down.
is the entire thing is kind of frustrating to even deal with, because the fact that people still can't see that there's still so much to learn from breaking down bad writing and explaining
Yeah.
why you had an issue with the film, and then it allows you to realize why you love the stories that you do love, that they don't have all those inconsistencies, and it's a positive thing in the end. And the fact that they only see the negative side to me is crazy. I get
These
that all the
things
time.
also,
Cynic.
like, they tend to come into any video you do that's negative, in my experience anyway, because I occasionally will get people say, oh, your channel just hates on things for clicks. And it's like, well, hey, if I were doing things for clicks, it wouldn't be 5 hours long. And B, like, there's loads of comparisons in that video to really good stuff that I actually like, because lo
Exactly.
and behold, you can learn stuff from comparing good storytelling to bad storytelling. So I just review what comes out, and if it's a bad review, there'll be good references. But it's also like an element of selection bias, because you naturally gravitate toward things you're already interested in. So let's say you, or in me, because this is true of me, your main interests in terms of movies, media, storytelling are going to be things like The Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Star Trek, Jurassic Park, Avengers, another good example. Well, what's the commonality of all those things in the year 2025? It's not that they're all good. In fact, it's pretty much exclusively that all of the things I like have turned to shit. So of course I'm going to end up disproportionately covering negative things, because all the things I like have been ruined. It's the RLM meme again.
And because you're a fan of those things is why you're going to be passionate in your review, even
Exactly.
if you're being, cynical. And like aren't you? I thought you were a fan of this. How could you this is the reason we're critical. We understand what's gone wrong, and it's just frustrating. This entire thing should be. It shouldn't be something that still happens in these videos. That people just the idea of you being cynical of something is negative from the very. It's like, what did he say? Like, it means you're going to be mean or something. I couldn't believe that. I'm like, what do you grow up, man? Like,
If
from
he was
the
mean
first
out front,
caveman.
he said he hated me.
The first caveman to fucking like draw something on the wall. I'm sure there was another caveman that thought it was shit. You know what I mean? It's just how it works. Any creative work. So you just have to have thick skin anytime you're trying to create anything.
That is
I
true.
just now imagine this really snobbish caveman critic who looks at like the drawing of the horse and says, well, that's just awful. I mean, I don't know why you do this. You should
Because we
consider
know
a
what
different
happened.
profession.
Yeah,
This is why we send you out hunting the entire time. Stay in your lane.
Just to add on to, it seems like when it comes to when you negatively critique something or positively critique it, people have their whatever they're a fan of is now tied to their identity. So I find more often than not, like even when I put out something positive, it's like if the viewer disagrees with it, it's a personal attack on them almost. So that line has been completely blurred, especially when everywhere you go, it's like they're calling fans of something like what do they call Star Wars fans, like gays or something like that, and then they call like Sailor Moon fans like Moonies and all of that. So there's an identity tied to all of this which people can't separate.
Who
It's
calls
true,
Star
though,
Wars fans the gays?
Hey,
Just out
the
of
gays.
interest.
I had to sneak it in there.
They blanket it all under nerds.
I did a small, tiny review because I don't review stuff. I said what I thought of Nosferatu, and bloody Vex came storming in, going, "What are you talking about? Do you remember that?" Vex on X.
That
All
film
I
is
said
my
was one
identity.
thing. Just the one.
Well, even Nosferatu, I've had conversations where we disagree why we like.
Oh
the
yeah,
film.
for sure. Yeah.
You know,
I said-
so
I said that some of it was a bit dull, and my God, did Vex have a go at me? Jeez.
I did. Hold on. I had a constructive criticism, sir. If you want, I can put out
It
a
was an
49-minute and 14-second video about it.
That's why these conversations are important, though, man. The idea of the disagreement being this
exactly.
inherently negative thing is just gross. You learn more from disagreements and losses than you do from like agreements and wins. Like it's just
100%.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
This,
Shall we watch
however,
more
does
Batman?
not seem to affect the movie Cynic's channel, as he only has 19 videos and already has 13,000 subscribers. Which
Also, just
good
a
for
quick
him.
point. Like, it's always a good idea. I don't know if he has scripted this or not, but it's usually a good idea just to give it a quick reread before you go ahead, because you can't go from saying no one wants this type of content anymore to, and yet the channel's doing really well. That's
A quick redraft, my son. That's all you have to do, and you'll catch your bullshit ahead of time, so you don't reveal it to the whole world.